What's it like to become an overnight millionaire? $1 million falls out of nowhere. The couple is suddenly buried in money. The man's name is Castle, and he runs a century-old antique store. On the table are piles of bills. This old shop is drowning in debt. He picks up a bill and asks. His wife replies they haven't paid in 4 months. Castle forces a smile, unable to pay at all. At that moment, the doorbell rings. An elderly woman walks in. She pulls out an old bottle from her bag. It's a family heirloom. Castle gives her a look of disbelief. It's just an old bottle. He firmly tells Gray the bottle is worthless. Gray's face falls. She says she'd sell it for just $1. Castle wishes he could buy it, but he has no money. If he had any extra cash, he'd buy it for sure. But Castle is deep in debt. Gray bursts into tears at his response. Castle glances at his wife upstairs. He walks over, opens the cash register, and pulls out a single dollar. He hands it to Gray, who quickly thanks him and leaves, smiling through her tears. Just then, his wife comes down, clearly upset. Castle quickly blocks the cash register. She picks up the delicate bottle. Her husband is too kind, but they're about to go bankrupt. She reminds him he promised he wouldn't give away any more money. Castle, however, firmly believes that their luck is about to turn. The family-owned antique store has been passed down for 3 generations, yet today it's on the brink of collapse. Castle could see that the antique shop was in serious decline. He became more and more agitated, asking himself when they would finally stop living so frugally. Suddenly, he knocked over the bottle on the floor. The bottle's cap popped open. To their shock, white gas began to pour out of the bottle. Castle and his wife jumped back, startled. The gas kept pouring out, and it formed into a figure. The figure took off his hat and greeted the couple. They were both stunned. The man introduced himself as a genie in the bottle, able to grant Castle 4 wishes. Before they could even recover from the shock, Castle quickly shielded his frightened wife. The genie explained that he only appears once every 101 years. The wishes cannot be changed. Once granted, they are final. If a wish comes true, the only way to change it is with another wish. Castle, with a sense of curiosity, made his first wish. He asked the genie to fix the cracked display case glass. The genie asked 3 times to confirm the wish. Castle nodded and repeated his request. The genie waved his hand gently. The cracked glass was now perfectly whole, as if it had never been broken. Castle, in disbelief, touched the glass. He still had 3 wishes left. Ecstatic and excited, he turned to his wife, asking her to think carefully about the next wish. But his wife, terrified, shook her head. She didn't want anything at all. Castle didn't even notice his wife's fear. He was already imagining the luxurious life he could have. The genie wasn't surprised. Money was easy. Castle eagerly turned to his wife, asking how much they should wish for. She was trembling, too scared to decide. Without waiting any longer, Castle stood up and made his wish.
$1 million! Right here on the floor, in $5 and $10 bills. That's what we want. $1 million.
Ask and you shall receive, Mr. Castle.
Suddenly, money rained down from above. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, falling right in front of them. Castle and his wife could hardly believe their eyes. A small mountain of cash, $1 million, was now at their feet. Finally, they could live the good life. With their newfound wealth, they started inviting neighbors over, not just for company, but to give money away. The couple, once generous, became even more so, handing out stacks of bills without hesitation. For Mrs. Gray, the woman who had brought them the genie, Castle gave her a huge pile of cash. One day, as Castle was about to hand over money to a man standing before him, the man pulled out a business card. It was from the National Tax Agency. The man wasn't here for charity. He was here to collect income tax. Castle, still in a generous mood, quickly offered to pay whatever was required. "Just say how much," he said. He was ecstatic, dancing with his wife, already dreaming of their trip to Europe. But then he looked at the bill and froze. There were so many zeros. The man explained, deducting their income taxes and various fees, the total tax due was over $940,000. Castle's wife was in shock. They had given away so much money already. The man didn't say much more, just told Castle to mail them a check. Castle knelt down in the pile of money, counting each bill for what felt like an eternity. After what seemed like forever, he finally added it all up. After taxes, they were left with just $5. His wife couldn't believe it. "What kind of wish did you make? We can't even pay the bills on the table." Just then, the genie appeared. He had warned Castle to think carefully before making his wishes. Obviously, Castle hadn't considered the taxes. Castle snapped, furious. The genie had tricked him. "You're a fraud. I want back the $1 million after tax deductions." His wife rushed to stop him. "No more money," she pleaded. But Castle was undeterred. He was thinking, what if he could make 10 or 20 wishes? The genie shook his head, saying it wasn't possible to wish for more wishes. Castle was desperate. "How about a wish that doesn't come with a trick?" The genie calmly replied, "There are no tricks. Every wish has a consequence." Castle's mind raced. There had to be a wish that had no consequence. And then it hit him, the ultimate wish. His wife, confused, asked what it was. Castle's eyes widened. "I want power," he declared. "I want to be the leader of a country." The genie smirked, asking, More specific? Castle stepped closer. I want to be the head of state of a modern country, and it has to be in this century. The genie nodded. No problem. But as he had said before, every wish has consequences. The genie stood up with a sly smile. As you wish, master. Suddenly, a military officer rushed to Castle, informing him of a mass suicide. Outside, the sounds of gunfire and explosions filled the air. Castle stared in shock. He had become H. And now, he would never be ousted from power. In the final days of the war, Castle's mind had completely unraveled. The officer handed him poison, a final cruel reminder of the price of his wish. The crazed H picked up the bottle of poison. Castle, now fully aware of his mistake, wished to go back, to return to being himself. He tossed the poison to the floor, shattering the bottle. In an instant, Castle found himself back in the antique shop, confused. His wife stared at him, wondering what had just happened. Castle, with a sigh of relief, explained he had made his final wish. All the previous wishes had crumbled to pieces. Looking around at the old store, Castle smiled. This life wasn't so bad. They could renovate, repaint, and start fresh. The couple glanced at the now intact display case. At least they had profited from all of this. But just then, Castle accidentally poked the glass with a broomstick, cracking it. They both laughed, realizing they were back where they started. Castle threw the broken bottle pieces into the trash. A moment later, the bottle was whole again, quietly awaiting its next owner.